The digital freight portal helps your customers track their shipments by mapping your Magaya supply chain events to their portals. In this video, we'll look at the difference between events and milestones and how to map your Magaya events to the portal. This video is for customers who are using both Magaya Supply Chain and the digital freight portal together. We recommend watching the video configuring milestones before this one. Events are a variety of activities you can define. Events in Magaya appear in the Events tab. They can be added manually or automated. For example, setting a shipment to in transit like this will create an event if your system is configured for automated events. Events can also come from extensions and integrations such as customs compliance, intra, container tracking, and the Final Mile app. Events are configured by administrators in the Configuration menu under Event Definition. Your events in Magaya can all be mapped to appear as milestones or tracking events in the digital freight portal. Let's look at the difference between a milestone and a tracking event. When your customers view a shipment in the digital freight portal, they have two ways to keep track of updates. They can view their milestones on this Summary tab or a complete list of events in the Tracking tab. Milestones are the most important events that your customers want to be notified about as their cargo moves through the shipping process. Milestones include big events like shipment confirmations, departures, arrivals, and deliveries. These milestones help your customers see their shipment progress at a glance. If your customer wants more detailed information about every event their shipment goes through, they can visit the Tracking tab to see the complete list, which also includes the milestones. Now that we know how your customers will see shipment events in their portals, let's look at how to configure your event mapping. Sign in to your Digital Freight Portal Hub account. Open your administration menu and click on Magaya Event Mappings. This screen displays all current event mappings. Every hub includes a selection of default mappings, so your portals will display events and default milestones even if you have not already customized your own rules. The columns in your mapping list show the rules and priority for each mapping. Click these buttons to edit, copy, or delete mappings in this list. Or click this button to create a new mapping. Let's create a new one. First, enter a name for the mapping. This name will not be visible to your customers, so you can choose a name that's descriptive or specific for your company's internal processes. Next is the Rules section. This is where you create the rules the portal will follow to add Magaya events to either the Milestones or Tracking tab. Let's use an example event from Magaya to create our rule. Here is our Magaya event definition page. One of the events we want our customers to see in their portal is this Cargo Status Update event. We use this event when shipment cargo is loaded at the port of lading, so we want our customers to see this update as a milestone in the portal. In the portal, we will use the Rules section to map the event. The Field dropdown has two options, Name or Event. Choosing Name means the mapping rule will look at the name of the event to determine if it should be a milestone or a Tracking tab event. Choosing Event means the rule will look at the event details to make that decision. Let's choose Name for our example. Next is the Comparison dropdown. The options in this dropdown tell the portal where in the event name to look for specific information. The Equals option looks for the whole event name, including any punctuation and exact spelling. Starts with and ends with looks for a specific word or phrase at the beginning or end of the event name. The Contains option looks for a specific word or phrase anywhere in the event name. Let's pick Equals for this example. The Value field is next. This is where you enter specific information for this rule to look for. Because we chose Equals for this rule, let's copy and paste the entire event name from Magaya and put it here. Equals is the only comparison option that requires the entire name or details. Contains, or starts or ends with, can include single words or phrases. The Operator dropdown lets you add more than one rule for your mapping. You might be wondering why you need a second rule for a mapping if the first rule can use specific event names. Sometimes multiple events in Magaya will have the same event name but different information in the details section. Some examples are events from customs compliance or intra. Some of the events created by these integrations have similar event names but different descriptive details. Being able to map events in the portal based on both the event name and details ensures that your customers get accurate updates throughout the entire shipment process. For the operator, let's select AND. Selecting AND means the mapping will use both the first rule and an additional rule to decide which tab the event will appear in. Selecting OR means that the event must meet either the first or second rule. For this second rule, we'll select Event for the field and Contains for the comparison. Because we selected Event for the field, the rule will look at the event details. The details of the event we are mapping look like this. For the value field for this rule, we'll enter Loaded at port of lading. With these settings, this second rule will apply to events that have Loaded at port of lading anywhere in the details of the event. Since we chose the AND option to make both rules required, this mapping will determine where to put an event based on whether the event name matches the phrase Cargo Status Update and the details contain the phrase Loaded at port of lading. When an event matches the rules we just made, the portal will send the event to either the Milestones or Tracking tab based on the next setting, the System Code Mapping. Select either a milestone or the generic code. Choosing a milestone means the event will trigger the milestone in the Shipment Summary tab. Choosing the generic code means the event will appear in the Tracking tab of the shipment. For our event example, the cargo being loaded at the port of lading is a big milestone event, so we'll choose the Loaded at Origin milestone option to make the event trigger the milestone. Finally, we need to set the mapping's priority. Either click these arrows to select a number or type a number into the field. The larger the number, the higher priority the rule is. So, a priority of 1 is low priority, while 10 or 20 is higher priority. The priority helps the portal decide which rules have precedence in the case that an event meets the rules for more than one mapping. In that case, the portal will place the event in the location specified by the mapping with the highest priority. When you have finished configuring the mapping, click Save Mapping. Repeat this process for any other mappings you need to add. Let's look at one more feature to help you add multiple mapping rules at the same time. Creating multiple mappings at once follows a similar process to creating them one at a time. The only differences are that bulk rules don't have custom names, and you can only add one rule to the mapping. Mapping in bulk is recommended for adding events to the generic code, and for events that only need one rule. After creating these rules, their names will appear in your list as a combination of the value and maps to fields. You can update these mappings with a custom name and second rules at any time by clicking the Edit button for the mapping in your list. To create multiple mappings at once, click the Bulk Create button. Select the field, comparison, value, maps to, and priority information for your first rule. When the first rule has all of this information, a new line will be added to the table. Complete the information for each rule you want to add. Rules that are missing any information will not be created and will have this icon next to them. Valid rules will have this icon. When your bulk list is complete, click Create in Bulk to process the mappings. You'll see a notification that the portal is adding the rules and to wait a moment. You can return to your list when this process is complete. You can make changes to your mapping rules and milestone configuration at any time. This gives you freedom to customize how you communicate with your customers to meet their cargo tracking needs. See our other videos for more information about using your digital freight portal hub. Thanks for watching.